Hey guys, this is Siddharth from Sid Comics, and today we are going to do an overview video of Sandman Vol.1, the Absolute Edition. For those of you who don't know, Absolute Editions are oversized editions of regular comics. In fact, to give you a better idea of how large this collection is, here is a comparison. Now, these are the regular 2 trade paperbacks. That's what they are called, trade paperbacks. And you can see that the book is much larger in comparison with these regular sized books. There is a slipcase that is accompanied with every Absolute Edition, and the book is in fact inside the slipcase. And every Absolute Edition also comes with this standard label that you can keep. I guess it has some collector value. Alright, so now that we've spoken a bit about Absolute Editions, let's talk about this one in particular. I bought this off from Snapdeal at about 1,700. Now that's insane price for any Absolute Edition if you ask me. And I must thank this amazing Facebook group called Book Deals for Broke Bibliophiles for that. This is the spine of the slipcase. And you know what, let's slide the book out of this slipcase and let me show you the contents of this well put together Absolute Edition. First off, this cover is just brilliant. The finish on this cover is a bit leathery, and the image that's used on the slipcase is from the main cover that you see here. This Absolute Edition collects about 20 issues, the first 20 issues of the Sandman series, which effectively makes it equivalent to the first 3 trade paperbacks. And here are some of the advantages of collecting Absolute Editions. They generally have a much superior binding on them, and they also have these oversized pages where you can enjoy the artwork of the comic a little better. Now, while I understand that there is a lot more of collector value to these books than like say the reader value, because you can get the exact same series for a much cheaper price if you want to consider collecting it in trade paperbacks. I believe Sandman is a 10 trade paperback series which you can collect individually. You can buy each single one of these volumes at around 700-750 from Amazon, and your total would come up to be 7.5 or 8K for the entire series. There's another slipcase volume which sends you all of these 10 volumes together as a single packet. Now that sometimes goes as low as 6.5. So those are the 2 options that you have if you want to collect these trade paperbacks. If you want to collect the omnibuses, they are slightly more expensive, and I've seen them go down to somewhere around 4.5 to 5K. So probably that could be the second option as far as cost effectiveness goes. These Absolute Editions are third in line actually, because there are 4 of them which collect the main series. I know there's a 5th one as well, but I think that collects some of the extra stories and some of the backups to the main series. But the main series is collected around the 4 Absolute Editions. These Absolute Editions are of course a lot more expensive, and it will cost you somewhere around 15K if I mistake not to get the entire series. So there's a lot of investment, but at the same time there's a lot of collector value that these Absolute Editions bring to your collection. Now, apart from being, like I said, oversized in their format, these Absolute Editions are a treat in that they are amazingly well put together. Now, being a collector, I can understand that sometimes when you have these regular trade paperbacks, you can expect a lot of shelf wear as far as these books go. But the Absolute Editions, you don't have to worry about that. You've got superior binding and better page quality to ensure that these books last with you for a longer time. Now, let's compare a page from the Absolute Edition and the trade paperback. Now both of these pages are recolored, I believe, and you can see that as far as the color palette goes, there's not much of a difference between the two, but again, there's oversized pages and a thicker paper stock in the Absolute Edition, and in your regular trade paperback it's a glossier, smaller paper. Now that is again prone to a bit of damage if you don't store it properly, but the Absolute Edition has a lot of advantage there in that it has a thicker paper stock, and again it comes with a slipcase, so there is inbuilt protection that you get for this book. And here's another thing what makes Absolute Editions really special. That's the bonus material that they include towards the end of the book. Now this particular edition involves a lot of sketches and Neil Gaiman's original proposal for the series, his pitch, what his initial ideas were for the characters and the stories, and all of that is included here in this nicely put together section towards the end of the Absolute Edition. You also get a lot of introductions to, and yes, that's Neil himself over there. You get a lot of introductions to these individual trade paperbacks. Like I mentioned, this is the equivalent of the 3 trade paperbacks. So the introductions that you would have in all of those 3 trade paperbacks are also included here, so you're not missing out on anything. Plus there is a in case you missed it, or in case just a small recap that's there at the beginning of the second trade paperback, which is beautifully worded by Neil Gaiman. I mean, if you can make that sound interesting, you're just a genius. Now that's also been included here, and towards the end of the bonus material we get the full script and the pencils for A Midsummer's Night's Dream. I think that's the name of this issue. It was an award-winning issue. I believe it's issue number 19. So that's there in its entirety. You get all of the scripts and the frame breakouts, and these are called the pencils essentially. They haven't been inked or they haven't been colored. So that is included here. These are the introductions to the trade paperbacks, like I mentioned, and there's a special introduction to the Absolute Edition. And towards the end, we get small biographies of all of the creators. So I'll recommend this book to someone who really likes Sandman, and someone who wants to know a little bit more about Neil Gaiman's process. You perhaps would want to check out this collection, because you have the entirety of a script that he has written in the end. And again, like I said, really high collector value that you won't find in these trade paperbacks, but you will find it in this Absolute Edition. That was it for this overview video. I hope you liked it. Do comment and subscribe if you like what I do. And as always, I'll see you again next time. Till then, goodbye.